For the final time this season, the Sprint Series is back in action, and it's going to be a home race for some of our winning contenders as we head to the Silverstone Raceway here in the United Kingdom for the British Grand Prix. Welcome back on the VOR Racing Network. This four-race championship is coming to a close. Victories and our championship practically locked up. The storylines are all set to conclude in these 30 final minutes. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and tonight we descend upon one of the most legendary circuits in the United Kingdom for its longest configured track variant. It's not going to be easy here. Drivers taking on the twists and turns for 18 laps worth, 30 minutes on the table, and for today's event, for the first time all season, both compounds of tire are available and one tire change allowed if needed. So strategy continues to change, and this time around a little bit more lenient for the majority of the field, who get to try their luck for the first time with all options at their disposal. As it stands, qualifying on the move, and currently no driver having set a time. 13 drivers are registered in this session, and practice and qualifying, we're on to the final stage. Quickest in practice, Jarno Kalsch, who's coming off of the photo finish we saw last week. Jarno with 2 victories in the championship picture is effectively your champion already. He's won 50% of the event so far this season. Liam O'Sullivan with the only other win, and he has returned today to his home track, looking to give an opportunity for Alternate Autosport to split the wins table with Jarno, who's done it by himself. Coming across the line, Jarno gonna put in his first lap this time through, and it looks like the lap time's coming in about the 1 minute and 40-second range. So quicker than Spa overall. In this 3.66 mile track with 18 turns on the table, we are using the longest configuration available here of Silverstone. Partly cloudy skies, 79 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll discuss weather more as we get to our race session. Jarno among the many currently who are taking times. A few of our brand new drivers have also come into the session. Louis Hesketh in the number 94, and in the number 92, Zach Mertz in the number 92. Now going to get on his way in the DuPont machine, inspired by Jeff Gordon in the NASCAR Cup Series. Bart Firestein also making his return to the Sprint Series. Alexander Bonney going to be on the track, and Ben Mulryan, a rookie in the number 58, taking on the Sprint Series for the first time in his campaign. Last week, of course, at Spa, we saw ourselves perhaps the most exciting finish of the season, and it came down to Jonathan Moore, who, right there, side by Jarno Kalsch, lost the victory by just 500 feet. It came down to the last turn coming out of the final chicane, and Moore was ahead for the majority of the last run, which was some 6 or 7 laps. But making his way through, it turned out he ran out of fuel, and as such, he had to eventually back it down on the front straightaway and give away the race victory, losing by eventually 5 seconds while having the lead coming out of the final corner and heading down the final straightaway. Jarno was able to take his second victory as a result, and now Jonathan Moore, who has lost his last 2 starts in the most unfortunate ways possible, is looking for a chance to get some redemption and maybe win one tonight, as Patrick Zilvazzi heads up to the top of the charts, and it looks like now Jonathan Moore going to be making his way around to the final sector. Zach Mertz is going to move up into 4th, and now 4 drivers have taken a time with less than a minute remaining. We're going to keep our eyes here on Jonathan Moore to see if he can put down one good lap. Not a lot of time for these drivers to set a lap so far in this session, and as number 12 machine O'Sullivan came around, he finishes in 3rd in the session, and at the stripe now for Jonathan Moore, it's the 81 taking it up and going at it again. Let's see what Jonathan Moore can do, as Matthias Strauss is also going to be on his way. Strauss in number 28 now, going to be just behind Moore. Tentatively speaking, Patrick Zilvazzi is going to be on the pole position with less than 10 seconds left. No other times have been set and officially recorded, and it looks like now the number 17 will be at the top of the charts officially. Qualifying has concluded, and so Patrick Zilvazzi, with a lap speed of 129 miles an hour, finds himself on the pole position as final times are being set. Will anyone end up beating, of course, the number 17, remaining the big question. It looks like now it's going to be just behind Jonathan Moore, Jarno Kalsch, both of them coming together. They're making their way around to finish off this qualifying session and potentially best the 17. Moore now going to be coming right beside, and it looks like for Jonathan, lap time there, not validated. Moore will not move up. Santos in the number 4 today going to move up into 4th. Ben Mulrine 5th, and it's going to be Hesketh then in 6th. Now times are being taken for the final time. As you can see here, Lucas has already took his time. He's up into 4th here. That's the highest he will sit. Best case scenario. Matthias Strauss making it through in the Team Watson Racing Setups machine tonight. And it looks like for Team Watson, currently going to be set up to start from, at the very least, the 9th position. Dave Stedman moves up to 8th. Now the 28th is going to be coming through all over again to finish off the session for his team. It looks like now Strauss up to 4th, and that's where he will stand. Bart Firestein, Alexander Bonney going to be now going. Bonney's on the way. Let's ride on board now with the 27 in the final few moments. Looks like he just crossed the stripe. Alexander Bonney there for 10th, which will leave Julian Altena not on the track. Jonathan Moore already done. Bart Firestein as well. And so qualifying has concluded, and Zilvazi will come home officially with the pole position after further contention. And so, for the final time this season, the starting grid set to descend upon the virtual Silverstone Raceway. 18 turns on the table for these drivers tonight, and a Grand Prix circuit well known all throughout the world, let alone the country here in the United Kingdom. The home race for former race winner Liam O'Sullivan, who got it done 2 races ago, and he's going to be starting tonight in the 3rd position. Up in front of him, Jarno Koch, who's the champion at the end of this race, will be officially crowned, and pole sitter Patrick Zilvazi. Let's take a look at that quick starting grid lineup at the top of the board. It's going to be number 17 of Zilvazi. 1 minute 40.162 puts him on top by some 51 thousandths of a second. Then Jarno Koch going to be second, with Liam O'Sullivan in 3rd. It's going to be Matthias Strauss 4th, and Lucas Santos then in the 5th spot. 6th place, Ben Mulrine. It's going to be 7th for Louis Hesketh, who just disconnected, as did Lucas Santos, as did the field. And it looks like, pending official confirmation, the race will be delayed, and we will return in just a few moments here, switching sections after qualifying and figuring out exactly what's going on. We'll be right back after the following message here on the VOR Racing Network. We'll be back with a green flag and racing from this point onward.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Racing requires everything that you've got. Climbing into NASCAR on Sunday, it feels like you're getting ready to go into battle.
When I hit that ignition switch, that car fires up. It's one of the best things in the world.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Once again, welcome back, race fans, to the World Center of Racing Daytona International Speedway as we get set for our second on-track activity today. Scheduled
Racing requires everything that you've got. Climbing into NASCAR on Sunday, it feels like you're getting ready to go into battle.
When I hit that ignition switch, that car fires up. It's one of the best things in the world.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
In the final minutes now of second practice, waiting for drivers to still disconnect and reconnect to the brand new session. Dave Stedman right now at the top of the board in this brand new practice session with 30 laps still on the table. Qualifying set in the previous session, which means Patrick Zilvazzi will sit on the pole after what we saw in the 5 minutes of qualifying we've had so far today. Right now, Dave Stedman, the only driver with the time taken so far. Louis Hesketh also going for a time in the number 94. Bart Firestein on the circuit as we see Lucas Santos, Matthias Strauss, Ben Mulrine, and Alexander Bonney and company as well making their way through. Practice for the final time will give these drivers one last opportunity to maybe play around with the alternate and primary compounds, which for the first time today are on display at the same time. Drivers have the opportunity to go for the red rim tires or the white rim. And with that being said, we might see some tire strategy play out differently based on what we have seen in the past few races where tire compound swaps have not been possible. That will not be the case tonight, and it's practically unlimited with respect to how you you decide to go about fueling. Tire changing is optional. Fuel changing, of course, necessary to make it to the end of the race, but there's no restriction as to how you do that. And so now, as it's going to be a loop around for Louis Hesketh, every driver getting a chance to do things their way. Dave Stedman now making it through. He's the one and only time driver set, and he's going to go through with the 84 down at pit road, fastest in final practice. And so we move on to our main event. Let's look at that starting grid one more time. Same as the last session. And let's find out what's going on here. 18 laps, 30 minutes on the table, and qualifying has been concluded. And as we said previously, Patrick Silvazzi at the top of the board. It's the number 17 on pole position with Jarno Kausch second, Liam O'Sullivan going to be in third, and Matthew Strauss there fourth. Lucas Santos in fifth, Ben Mulrine sixth, and Louis Hesketh seventh. Eighth place goes to Dave Stedman, and Zach Mertz going to be in ninth with Alexander Bonney 10th, and 11th to Julian Altena. It's going to be then Jonathan Moore 12th. Bart Firestein, the 13th and final driver. Now the starting grid is assembled once again. It's time to see what happens with 18 final laps on the campaign. Jarno Kausch is due to be crowned the champion tonight if he comes to the checkered flag in one piece. Patrick Silvazzi still not with a win so far this season, and Liam O'Sullivan, after taking a week off, has returned to racing and is looking for one last checkered flag. Let's see now what happens as the grid is assembled for our final standing start of the season. For the last time in season 1, drivers are set to get their engines revved up, putting it out of neutral, and getting it into gear. We are underway in the British Grand Prix. 18 laps of racing ahead of us, and one driver going to spin rather quickly as the rest of the field gets on the way, led by Jarno Kausch. Jarno gets away through the opening sector of the circuit, and so Liam O'Sullivan moves up to second with Matthias Strauss there in third. Louis Hesketh going to be fourth, and then Ben Mulrine in fifth, so definitely some major changes. As you saw there, Alexander Bonney having some trouble, and it looks like further on back, Bart Firestein, Patrick Silvazzi, more of the same. Patrick going to be down to 10th from the pole position, and now drivers going to be training their way through together in a single file line for the most part, as Moore is trying to make up spots. He goes to the inside now in Zachary Mertz, and it looks like Mertz going to get loose. And just like that, getting out of the way of every other driver, it's going to be the number 92 down into 11th, Firestein, and Bonney, the only other drivers further back, as Jarno now going to make his way around to finish off this first lap, and he is advantageous over Liam O'Sullivan. Liam gaining one position on that opening lap, and it looks like behind him, Matthias Strauss now in third. Rookie of the race so far going to be Louis Hesketh, but he's got Ben Mulrine all over him at the same time, both of which now going to be battling, and Mulrine looking to the inside and trying to dive lower. Can't quite get it immediately, and now going to make it a side-by-side stick right out the corner into the first DRS zone for the drivers. Push to pass will be rather active, and here comes Julian Altena getting blocked high and low by both drivers respectively. Mulrine going to side a stick his foot into it regardless. Trying to look for the switch-over maneuver. He'll get it right there, and Mulrine now going to give Louis Hesketh a little bit of room on the outside, but that's all that Louis is going to have to deal with here as the two drivers remain side by side, now making it along the way, and you can see rounding these bends, taking the corners, Louis Hesketh and, of course, Ben Mulrine in their own right, as quick and as talented and holding that battle side by side. Here now, Ben's going to get back on the way ahead of Louis Hesketh, 4th and 5th. Further on back, Lucas Santos going to be in 10th, and Dave Stedman is just ahead. Stedman, who is the fastest driver in final practice. You're going to see there the number 84 machine goes up to the top side, gives a little bit of room, and now going to split the 94 of Hesketh in the middle. Louis dropping all the way down into the 10th position, right on board with Hesketh here for just a moment. So Hesketh has dropped down into the 9th position. Started in 7th and has dropped down 2 positions so far. 3 laps in of 18 and grabbing the gears up and down the ladder. He's into 1st, and you can see some of these tight corners regarding that navigation. You've got to get it down low to put the revs in. It's as simple as that. Following the basics tonight, Louis now going to be on the push to pass once again, trying to make up time. However, here in Silverstone, the straightaways are not all too long. Can only get about 10 to 15 seconds out of it each and every lap, out of the maximum of 20 which are possible. And for Jarno, he's going to get away for lap number 3. Jarno Kalsch now with a 3.7 second advantage. Liam O'Sullivan going to be in 2nd. Matthias Strauss and Ben Mulrine battling for the final step on the podium here. Mulrine has been able to make up 2 positions so far. Most recently, we saw the battle he had with Louis Hesketh. And here is the number 28 machine looking bottom, looking top. No dice yet, and he'll stay behind. Mulrine decided to stay behind for the time being. 3 laps in of 18, we are expecting the halfway point, of course, to be at about lap number 9 for strategy. And now, talking about fuel limits and tires, here's what the drivers have to deal with all race long. We do have ourselves 2 tire sets to deal with, plus the one you start with. And of course, if drivers are choosing to fuel up, they'll go down and into pit road and most likely take themselves a brand new set of rubber. Right now, every driver is going to be on the alternates, and as you can see, Ben Mulrine smokes himself up, and Jonathan Moore is up into the 5th position. Moore has been able to make his way up from a dismal qualifying effort in which he could not get an officially validated time in. Now he's back in the picture, inside the top 5, and looking for podium contention. Mulrine dives low, going to make it his first pass on the lap, and he gets up into 3rd, only to go wide. Now he's going to have to let 2 drivers go right around him. He has to defend low. Matthias Strauss gives him just enough room again, and Mulrine, despite the mistake, hangs tough and holds fort in 3rd. How about Ben Mulrine continuing that defensive drive? Matthias Strauss going to stay all over him, as does Liam O'Sullivan just up ahead. And here now, it looks like Jonathan Moore, contact, up into the air. Multiple drivers coming through. Moore with a big damage, and it's going to be a big slowdown as the 2 drivers are now going to be caught up and destroyed. There's Ben Mulrine, and there is Jonathan Moore. Moore is still driving, and he keeps it just straight. Taking an instant replay on this one, Jonathan Moore and Ben Mulrine with trouble, and here's the instant replay on what just happened. Moore was coming up there on Mulrine, and it looked like Ben was stretching himself rather thin with the defense, and Jonathan pushed to wit's end, goes into the grass, and Mulrine comes right back at him. It looks like Moore was holding his line there, but Ben Mulrine comes in just like that. Contact. Here's a look on board now at the number 58. So now Mulrine, you saw there just on the inside, it looked like there was no erratic movement from him. All the while, Moore came right back up, and both drivers colliding. Ben gets the worst of it. Now it's going to be Jarno Kalsch up and ahead by 6 seconds in the opening 5 laps. Look further back now, and Jonathan Moore has to give up another pair of positions. Louis Hesketh now just ahead. Patrick Zovazzi going to be in 5th, and although the driver in the number 17 is Zovazzi, he's gotten himself up there rather successfully back in the top 5, and not going to make up just yet for starting on pole and dropping back oh so quickly. He's going to let Jonathan Moore stay right in tow now, and Louis Hesketh going to be currently in 5th again. Zovazzi in the middle of the pack, as it looks like Moore staying in tow might be on the push to pass, and that he is not. And you can see the damage, that front wing damage, not giving him enough control. Jonathan Moore with massive trouble right now, trying to keep pace overall, several seconds off lap after lap. He'll be running at about the low 140s for the rest of the race, the high 140s rather, at the rate he's pulling, and it looks like the rest of the field are going to get away from him rather quickly. Patrick Zovazzi decided to go down to pit road only 6 laps in, and at the third of the waypoint, it looks like Zovazzi decided to go right through, and he'll be the first driver to take it into pit road here, whereas the rest of the field has decided to stay out. Jarno Kosh going to be now 6 laps in of 18, advantageous, and third of the way ahead with 7 seconds pole. It looks like for the time being, no trouble for Jarno, doing exactly what he's done since the beginning. Liam O'Sullivan able to make up that 1 spot, and ever since that point, we really haven't seen all too much of him. Stayed in 2nd, there's nobody else who's going to be contending with them, but at the same time now you got to wonder what's on the mind here for the number 12. O'Sullivan surely has an opportunity perhaps to hold 2nd, if not better, but he'll need some pit strategy finesse to have a chance at the race win the way things are looking. If Patrick Zovazzi's pit stop is any benchmark, it took him about 33 seconds in and out of pit lane. His time in the pit box was 8.4 seconds flat, and 33 was the second amount he had on pit lane overall. With entry and exit, it's going to cost drivers about 40 seconds to head down to pit road, and so Zovazzi going to be the first driver to try it out, and overall relatively successful, but of course cycling down to 10th at least for the time being. He's going to have to wait around for the cycle to come back to him again, and maybe it'll come back in his favor. Lucas Santos coming up now, and Matthias Strauss. Gap between the two of which now going to be a third of a second. Let's see what the 28 can do now on the defensive driving style of the number 28, Matthias Strauss, working for a podium finish now. After the trouble that occurred just behind him, it looks like Strauss has been promoted up to the top 3, and now Lucas Santos with a serious opportunity to make it happen as well. Both drivers have gained 1 position respectively, and it looks like it could change now with Santos trying to gain 2. He'll cut a lot deeper into the corner there, staying all the way low. Louis Hesketh is still watching, but not in the frame just yet. Strauss not going to be afraid to use all the extra curvature and almost end up on the grass here. Silverstone now having the wider provisions for all the racing, using those curves up to the limit these drivers are allowed to here, and it looks like with these IR18 nimble-bodied open-wheel cars, they've got a lot of room, maybe a little bit more than the usual open-wheel cars at this track in Formula 1, and it's worked out quite well for both Strauss and Santos. Lucas in the number 4 spot. The number 4 car still stays exactly where he is, and Matthias has been guiding him around. Take a look on board now to Lucas Santos and get some driver telemetry to figure out what's going on. Diving down to the inside, Santos now going to have the advantage, and through the apex of the corner, he has got himself ahead. But Matthias Strauss is due to fight back, can't quite find the movement, and so going to be weaving and bobbing, only to see Santos up to 3rd. Lucas has made it up into the top 3 for the first time tonight, 8 laps in out of 18, and Matthias Strauss hangs tough just behind as Dave Stedman now looks on to Ben Mulrine, and Mulrine with the damage has fallen back substantially, but it looks like now Dave Stedman going to be in control of the battle if he can just hang behind and get that draft in. We'll see whether or not Ben Mulrine has been able to defend himself well enough as Louis Hesketh goes down to pit road, and as Louis makes it in, as has, it looks like, Julian Altena, who will be out of the cockpit 4 laps down as we speak. Patrick Zovazzi going to be on the way and just got by Louis, so As it stands, Patrick would have the net race lead of those who have gone down to pit road. However, most of the field has not yet gone down as we are just about reaching the halfway point, and Jarno Kalsch and company have still decided to stay out on the circuit. No signs of going to pit road. For Jarno now, the number 41 team is up by about 10 seconds over their next competitor in Liam O'Sullivan, which would lead to Jarno, if he is to seal the deal, to have a 75% win rate when the season comes to a close. 3 victories in his so far season if it all comes down to this race being his final victory. He's done an incredible job so far, winning on the opener due to the strategy call that he had going down a pit road and being the fastest driver to make his way in. Jonathan Moore now going to be fighting again with Louis Hesketh. The number 94 gives up on top, and that's going to allow Jonathan Moore to go all the way in and take the position right from him. Moore now going to be up into the 8th spot, and even though Jonathan Moore not yet with a win this season and now looking rather unlikely that he'll fight for one today, been quick, and now is looking to go back on the rebound tour as he just got down to pit road. Getting by Louis Hesketh, who went down to pit road as well. Here comes Liam O'Sullivan, and it looks like with them Ben Mulrine, both of which hiding under the pit road wall, and it's going to be Dave Stedman now cycling up in between them. Liam O'Sullivan making his way in, and the number 58 of Ben Mulrine just did too. Here's a look on board as Liam O'Sullivan exits pit road. Now it's going to be a side-by-side battle with Zachary Mertz. Zach has not yet gone down to pit road, and it looks like he gets loose once again. Early trouble for Zach to kick off the race, but otherwise a quiet event with very little trouble he's been experiencing. And now he's going to let Liam O'Sullivan go by, and cycling up into 5th so far, O'Sullivan back on the way. Liam had the quickest of all times on pit road so far, coming into the 32.3 and a very quick acceleration off the jump, and getting by Zachary also going to help him out here. So O'Sullivan doing a great job in that respect. Allows him to get up and ahead and try to keep the top 5 fight alive, if not the podium, as he only finds himself 4 seconds behind a man who has not come down to pit road, and that is Dave Stedman. We'll see what happens next. Matthias Strauss, Lucas Santos still going to be battling. Santos now with the advantage in the 2nd position overall. It looks like Matthias has only slowly but surely been fading back now. One driver has decided to go onto the primary compound tonight, and you can see further back that is Louis Hesketh. Louis has decided to go onto the white rims tonight, and he's the first and only driver to make that call so far. We'll see whether or not it pays off for him, as it's going to be now Matthias Strauss and Lucas Santos alike making their way down and in. Here's the number 4 machine of Santos, and you can see here first gear slowly but surely leading his competitor down pit road, and at the speed of about 45 miles an hour he'll make it in. No trouble there for either of which, and here comes Jarno leading now by a total of 27 seconds. He practically has a pit stop over the rest of the field, and so he'll be able to use it wisely here as he comes around this time by. He's only going to have next 8 laps to go, and Jarno remains in full control for the time being. 8 laps remaining this coming time by. Already 9 laps to go on the table, and coming into the second half, Strauss and Santos battle again, and it looks like now on new rubber, it's going to be Matthias Strauss advantageous. He'll weave and bob up and down the track, taking it all the way down to the bottom of the inside, only to block right back up with Lucas Santos yet again. It looks like now Santos going to find himself on the back foot once more, and waiting in the wings just behind will be Jonathan Moore as well. Maybe Moore can still come through with a top 5 finish, despite the fact he started in 12th tonight. It looks like Moore has once again made up time, and massively so, as he finds himself on the heels of this battle. At long last, Moore with another opportunity to come home with the top 5 if he plays his strategy cards right. Now Jarno going to come down to pit road here. He's already 11 seconds into his run on pit road, so it looks like he will be in a very good position to remain the race leader. As you can see now, Dave Stedman going to be coming up and away. He will potentially cycle up to the race lead for a very short period of time. That's if he chooses to go down to pit road. It looks like he will. Now Stedman makes it in. This will promote Liam O'Sullivan up to 2nd, and Jarno Kausch already up and on the way, so O'Sullivan moves up to second again, and it looks like Jarno gonna have himself now a 10-second lead as he did when the cycle began. As consistent as they come, once more, Jarno Kausch is going to find himself with the race lead, and it's about the exact same gap he had before pit stops got into the swing of things. So, a fantastic job for Jarno keeping things dead even, and Liam O'Sullivan not losing all too much time himself. Santos now on the back end of Matthias Strauss, and it looks like these two are going to be playing back and forth cat and dog racing for the rest of the day, going at each other, hoping for an opportunity to break away, which has not yet occurred, and Jonathan Moore remains just further back. 8 laps remaining here. Take a look now from Matthias Strauss's back end, and you'll see how close the number 4 of Lucas Santos is to the attenuator there. And it looks like Lucas going to be looking just under. No room to make the pass, but he'll poke down low once again, and his front wing going to leave that impression. Different perspective here. Take a look from Lucas Santos one more time, and you'll see he's copying the moves as close as he can to the competitor ahead of him in Matthias Strauss, looking for the opportunity to take hold. Now it's going to be Lucas Santos on the push to pass yet again, and it looks like now it's going to pay off. Down and in, using the push to pass. Looks like now Lucas Santos gets up in a 4th yet again, and he's got to watch out for how many push to passes he has remaining on the table. Overall, looks like Santos only has himself 3 left. Matthias Strauss currently has 5 remaining. And so, of all the drivers you're seeing right now, Ben Moline might be saving up the best of all of which. He's in 8th and has 7 push-to-passes left to go. Now, it looks like Jarno Kausch also has 7 left, but he doesn't quite need to use them with the gap he has of 12 plus. All the while, Lucas Santos has been able to wear himself down a little bit further. Matthias Strauss with 5 remaining means he still has the advantage over Lucas if he wants to go for an aggressive lap, and it's going to be tricky for a guy like the number 81 of Jonathan Moore, or of course Louis Heskett with none left as it stands. And here's Jarno making his way around, 7 laps to go this time by. He's 12 laps in and has done a great job out in front. Little competition with him. He has been as good as it gets once again, showing the speed in this number 41 car and coming home as the champion. That is the end goal. He's just got to make it around for 7 more laps to officially claim the title. Now, regarding next season, which is coming up very soon, the Sprint Series is set to return for the rest of 2024, and it will begin in September, the 12th of September, as a matter of fact, on the VOR Racing Network. It will be Zandvoort, the circuit we return to first. Then we have ourselves 2 consecutive races at Indianapolis, the road course first, and then the oval for this series' first oval race. It's going to be then the 4th race of the schedule, Brands Hatch, and 5th and final, the Red Bull Ring, a 5-race series coming back in mid-September, and the winner of the Sprint Championship next season will be granted free entry in the INDYCAR Series here in VOR competition for Season 13, a full free season. As a result, a victory here in the Sprint Series. Of course, for Jarno, I'm sure he wishes that prize was extended to him. He's done a fantastic job so far with 3 victories. I see no reason that Jarno could not become a race-winning contender in the main series on Saturday afternoons in the near future. Might be looking at the birth of a star here in this league, as Jarno has now built up a 16-second advantage. It's Jarno, O'Sullivan, Zilvazi, the 1-2-3 combo so far, and it looks like Patrick now, ever so slightly, making those gains on O'Sullivan as the gap has, relatively speaking, diminished. Down to a total now of only about 1 second flat. It's evident now that Patrick Zilvazi is making time on the number 12, and Liam O'Sullivan better look back. How about we see now what Patrick Silvazzi is up to inside the cockpit and ride on board briefly and figure out exactly how he's been driving the car. Looks like rather early he's going to be stalling at the wheel and using that aggressive oversteer method to get a nice run off the corner. Looks to be the strategy. Silvazzi going to be flat on the push to pass at a speed of 181 miles an hour. And it's clear as day, an oversteer by trade. Silvazzi very comfortable with where he's sitting. Able to make that gap disappear. Quarter of a second remaining now with 5 laps to go, and it looks like Liam O'Sullivan has to launch even further just behind. Here to the inside, it's going to be Patrick Silvazzi taking it up top with no choice. He had it down to the inside on the opening corner, but now he'll have to go the hard way and the long way around. O'Sullivan going to give just enough room up top. Silvazzi likewise, and for the Altana Autosport crew trying to hang on to a podium and a second place finish at that, Liam now going to be careening down the straight and trying to use all the tactics of defense he has left. It's going to be wheel to wheel. Now Sullivan once again having the inside. Will Silvazzi let go? That he does not. And it looks like now Liam gonna have a chance to just barely get the better exit, and we're making our way around yet again and through the initial start-finish line. This is not where the lap concludes, but here we go again for the final portion of the circuit. In the Arena Grand Prix configuration, both circuits are combined together, and Liam O'Sullivan made it through one circuit together. And now it's going to be Silvazzi making it through the next advantageous. How about Jarno Koch, though, up in front now by 20 seconds with 5 laps to go. It looks like the gap will continue to extend as the rest of the field battles one another. And now Patrick Silvazzi can get back to the swing of things. He's gotten ahead of O'Sullivan, and looks like he does remain clear as day, the quicker driver. Bart Firestein and Julian Altena are now going to be both on pit road. Louis Hesketh has officially disconnected from the session, and so it looks like now Lucas Santos and Matthias Strauss are the two closest drivers to each other. But Strauss has definitely gotten back on the way. However, not quick enough to get up there to Lucas Santos. Jonathan Moore now going to be in 6th. It looks like even though he was gaining major time on the drivers ahead of him, he came down to pit road relatively early, and that's done him in from that point onward. He has 7 laps of age on his tire now, coming up to his 8th. Meanwhile, the drivers ahead have only been on their set for some 4 laps. Admittedly for Moore, he played a risky game to try to recover, and while he's gained a majority of the spots back, of course he's up now a total of 6 on the day. It looks like he won't have a chance to go for the top 5 unless there is some trouble up ahead of him, which still could occur, but it looks like now Jarno is looking to put this race into the history books, and for the final time in this season, finish a race off in victory lane. Jarno Koch out in his own world. 3 final laps on the season, and looking to cap off an incredible performance on top yet again. No other drivers are battling, relatively speaking, to each other. The closest drivers are still going to be those such as Santos and O'Sullivan. Looks like maybe Lucas now looking to give a little bit of a shove and push to Liam O'Sullivan. As you can see, Santos has made that gap diminish as well. O'Sullivan might have to look further back. Let's see now how Liam reacts. The gap has diminished drastically, 0.4 of a second. What was a lap ago about 5 seconds back. Surely now, that has changed, and now it looks like Liam O'Sullivan is going to be on, once again, a huge watch. And here he goes into the first corner of the circuit. It looks like now it's going to be a spin. Lucas Santos goes around, and he will give up multiple positions. Jonathan Moore now going to make it up inside the top 5. Matthias Strauss gets away. Lucas Santos, unforced error, and O'Sullivan has to give up a little bit of time, and now he'll have Matthias Strauss on him. What a moment there for Liam O'Sullivan, by just a few inches avoiding the tail-spinning number 4 of Lucas Santos. And once again, number 12 machine of O'Sullivan is on the way. Santos going to be now further on back behind Jonathan Moore in 6th. Meanwhile, Matthias Strauss now has a chance to take that number 12's position for himself without having to deal with Santos again. Take a ride on board now with Matthias Strauss as he continues to hunt for potentially a podium to finish off the season. Second to gain this final position. With half a second, 2 laps to go, Matthias Strauss knows now it's going to be all or nothing in these last few seconds of the race. We come down to the end of our timing sheet, 1 minute and 46 seconds left on this overall track timer, which will give us just enough time to reach the white flag and finish this race off without having to worry about anything extra. Now it's going to be Jonathan Moore up there in 5th. Liam O'Sullivan still remains here in 3rd. And looking at the push to pass numbers, it's still clear as day. Liam, he's got 1 left. Matthias has 3. Advantage goes to Strauss, that's for certain, but also now we're coming up again on Patrick Zovazzi, and it means we might have a 3-way fight for the 2nd spot again, and O'Sullivan might be able to get it all back together in just a lap and a half. Let's see now whether or not Jonathan Moore can make the move and if he can also get around Patrick Zovazzi. Liam O'Sullivan and Zovazzi alike now going to be putting down that pressure, and the gap is 0.8 of a second. It looks like Patrick not able to get away, and as a matter of fact, things are going in the opposite direction, as all the while, at the same time, Jarno Kausch is due to come down to the final lap. 1 lap to go in the season. Jarno, the 2-time winner already, looking to put this season in the books and come home officially crowned as the champion. Matthias Strauss stays right behind. And you got there Liam O'Sullivan in the 3rd position, Patrick Zovazzi in 2nd. The 2-3-4 combination. Last lap here, and this is what it comes down to. They're still battling for the spots on the podium, while Jarno leads the way, and he's going through the final sector all alone. A victory in the most unbelievable of circumstances. He got his 1st based on the strategy on pit road. He got his 2nd based on fuel mileage, but tonight, Jarno has been nothing short of the dominant driver and the best driver at that. He's only got now a handful of turns to finish the job and come home with the overall race win, his 3rd and final of this inaugural season. And now, Jarno can cruise from here. The gaps further on behind are as close as they can get as well. We'll watch that battle as soon as Jarno gets to the checkered flag, and the number 41 is due to celebrate his championship, going down the final straight at full pace, but there's nothing to worry about any longer. Jarno is that far ahead. Nothing more that can be done. Unloading through the final turns, the number 41 machine of Kausch. He's got himself a championship to celebrate now as he makes his way down to the front straightaway. This is it. Straight up dominance here in Silverstone, and his 3rd win comes with no spectacle. It was dominant, it was force. Jarno Kausch is the Sprint Series champion and gets it done here from Silverstone. Meanwhile, the battle for 2nd remains all the same. Patrick Zovazzi just ahead, and it's going to be now Liam O'Sullivan there in 3rd. Strauss behind, 3rd and 4th they will remain. It looks like Liam will hold on for the podium. Strauss stays behind. Patrick Zovazzi there, he stays in 2nd. With Jarno Kausch, your winner, 3rd win of the season. Kausch is your champion. What a victory there for the number 41. Tonight, Jarno overall, he led all but 1 lap. And officially speaking, it looks like he led every one of which. Jarno Kausch What a drive so far for the 41 team just entering this league, and in only 4 races coming away with 3 victories and looking to celebrate getting the job done once again. And will Jarno burn down the house here? That remains to be seen. It looks like instead taking a slow cruise after coming through on this first lap. His first cool-down lap, and perhaps his only to celebrate the championship, Jarno Koch will win tonight's event in the British Grand Prix and the championship as well. Patrick Zovazzi in second, Liam O'Sullivan third, and Matthias Strauss position number 4. It's going to be 5th for Jonathan Moore, 6th for Lucas Santos, 7th for Ben Mulrine, and Dave Stedman 8th, with Zachary Mertz 9th, and Alexander Bonney 10th. Louis Hesketh 11th, Bart Firestein in 12th, and Julian Altena, the final driver, 13th of which registered for tonight's session, and he will make it through. Just like that, the 13th and last of which. But tonight, once again, Jarno Koch has gotten it done and wins here in Silverstone. The champion, after all, his 3rd win of the season comes with, of course, no doubts. Jarno is a champion again. Getting confirmation that Jarno is available here, we will have him in the waiting room momentarily as soon as he's available to interview. And now the number 41 machine looking to be officially available for comments. So how about we pull in our champion with 3 wins in this 4-race season, getting it done once again. And tonight, it looked like dominance from start to finish. Jarno, the checkered flag is yours, and along with the victory comes with the championship trophy. What a way to come home on top tonight. No stopping this 41 crew with another win in the table, and a great way to introduce yourself in this league with a Sprint Series title. How you feeling?
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it? 3 out of 4 wins and a 2nd place. It's pretty much the best you could do.
Of course, remarkable consistency. It's something, of course, which comes down to the level of skill. But tonight, we saw those first 2 wins came down to some quite exciting scenario, shall we say, with pit strategy and fuel mileage. It looked like you were far and away the quickest driver from the very beginning here. What about Silverstone clicked for you that helped you get so far out ahead?
I think it wouldn't have been that. I think it would have been close with Patrick. I don't know what he did at the start. I think he just spun out. I actually was looking forward to a battle with him. From the qualifying pace, I guessed we 2 would fight for the win, and then, yeah, race for the win was pretty much over in turn 1 already. But I would have guessed it would have been a battle for the win if he didn't make the mistake.
Well, it looks like you were able to avoid that mistake and, of course, run away with the race win tonight. Now, we did have a little bit more of those extra options for the opportunity to go down a pit road, change your tire compound. It looks like you kept things simple. How were the alternates out there tonight from start to finish?
I think overall the alternate strategy in that scenario is definitely faster. It was already in Spa, and I think it definitely was again today. But it's still, nonetheless, it's still tricky getting to like lap 7, 8. Then it's actually getting really tricky keeping it on the road on the alternates. But it's definitely faster in the blacks.
Well, it looks like tonight hanging tough with the Red Firestones and coming home again with the victory. Now, this opening season, you've been dominant in and come home with another win, Jarno. The question becomes, of course, what's next as our 2nd season begins in the middle of September? Will we see the 41 team return to chase victory once more?
We'll see. I would guess so, but I'm not sure yet. First, obviously, now I got invited into the iRacing League. I'll take part in some races over there, where I can when I have time. But yeah, we'll see about the Sprint Series. I think it's a cool format. Racing the IndyCar on some other EP tracks that it wouldn't be raced normally on. It's a lot of fun.
And it looks like so far it's been an exciting time to kick off your Sprint Series career and come home here with such successful results. Jarno, the checkered flag is yours here in the British Grand Prix. Any final thoughts after this final event?
Not much. It was very fun. Fun 4 races. I learned a lot about doing setups, and I'm looking forward to fine tuning those skills in the future.
And of course, if this is only the beginning, a lot yet to come. Jarno Kalsch, victory and a championship here, crowned in the British Grand Prix. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Jarno going to be on the way with our second man, Patrick Zovazzi, coming home with yet another podium. The 17 team had to work for it, and even though there was a very early mistake, able to recover and make it up there to second when all was said and done, Patrick. It looks like you had to drive from 10th on up for this recovery to finish off strongly, and yet it looks like the checkered flag is yours. Patrick, how you feeling?
Thanks, David. Yeah, my start was just atrocious, let's just say. I left the clutch too early, and like if I leave it half a second later, then this would have not happened. Quali was okay. I'm actually happy that I got pole. And then yeah, I tried to make to the field, but I got wind damage after hitting Julian by accident. I didn't expect him to check up at all. But it happened. Luckily, it didn't cost me that time. It vice versa. It actually was a favor for me because I was able to undercut basically everyone, and I was able to pass Liam on pace alone. And yeah, then I kept it strongly and finished second place. Which I mean, if I don't spin out or something, that would have been a max to get anyways. So I'm actually happy with this. So yeah, this time I didn't mess up my strategy, so I'm happy with it.
And it looks like your strategy's selling well after the initial start and coming back especially strong in the final stint of the race. How is it out there trying to battle to make it up further in the podium in those last laps and eventually having such success to get up into the top 2?
After I saw Liam coming out of the pits, I was able to catch him pretty quickly because I had my tires up to temp. And then I saw that he really struggled into the Magasbeck's Chapel section. Then like I was gaining half a second every lap. I knew that will be my chance. And eventually I didn't pass them at the Hanger Straight, but it was a really cool battle with Liam. It was really good and respectful. So I'm really happy with it. And then afterwards, I just had to keep the momentum and cruise it home and saving my tires.
And it looks like tire saving and the pace there at the very end, carrying for a second place finish and a great way to end this opening season. We'll come back in about a month's time with more of the Sprint Series action. And Patrick, with multiple podium finishes and top 5 runs this season, do you expect to return for what's next?
I mean, obviously the goal is to not pay for the season 13 entry fees, so who knows? But knowing my luck, it's gonna be really hard so to win at least one race. But I mean, it's okay. So I'm pretty happy that I'm constantly being good at road courses. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
And it looks like a great way to kick off your sprint career. Top 2 finish in the final race here in the British Grand Prix. If you have any final shout-outs you'd like to give or any last messages, Patrick, the floor is yours.
Actually, my future in the league is pretty uncertain because honestly, I don't really have any motivation to do iRacing in general, but I don't know if I can sort some things out, and if I find my motivation, then hopefully I will have more motivation to do the second half of the IR18 season and then the rest.
Well, it looks like tonight coming out to the last sprint race he may compete in and going through with a fantastic run and performance. Patrick, second place on the day here in Silverstone, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And now with Patrick on the move, one last driver to speak to, and that will be, of course, the number 12 of Liam O'Sullivan. Liam came home with a victory 2 races ago, was not here last race, and comes back for the final event of his home circuit and gets it done for a podium finish here, Liam. You stayed up in the top 2 or 3 all night long, and you come home as such. How you feeling?
Yeah, well, I messed up on the setup. Is basically the bottom line. Like I was worried with I had the engine overheating on me actually in practice, so I changed as a precaution, and then I was assuming the setup was going to be the backup I was going to was going to be fine, but I was down, I'd say, about half a second to a second, which Jarno really pulled away, and it was evident. I was good in low speed corners, just I didn't have the high speed grip, which I think was evident. You saw Matthias really gain on me there. Even how Patrick got me, I just slid through cops, and I was like, are we having a good battle? And I was like, yeah, I can't compete with that. So I think P3 was the best I could do there. Probably I really got helped by some crashes behind to not end up further down the order. But yeah, it's a good one and a nice way to end the season. I think it was a good race overall. We had, I think, some good battling, few crashes here and there, I suppose, to make that entertaining as well. But yeah, a good way to end the season, going into the new one in a month's time.
And a great way to, of course, finish off with that momentum here. You were battling for the podium until the very last lap. You, Patrick, and Lucas Santos, Matthias Strauss and company. It looked like this race was surely not a cakewalk from where you were up in the upper mid-pack. What was it like out there having to go for some close quarters racing along the way?
The last lap was scary because Patrick was playing teammate games kind of with Matthias in a way, I think. Like, I could tell him slowing down, and I was like, I was expecting it. But I had to be aggressive with Matthias slightly. He overdid Stowe slightly, and I was able to kind of guide him off the track without forcing him off, and that allowed me to hold my position. But yeah, I was really struggling in Maggots, Beckett's, the high-speed corners. I just didn't have the grip of everyone else, and that's my fault with the setup. I just slightly missed the mark on downforce, I think, and a cost for that. So, but yeah, it was a good kind of make the most of what I had drive.
And making the most of this situation, Liam, you come back for your second start here and a second podium, a win previously, and clearly one of the quickest drivers on the circuit in this brief 4-race stint. All eyes are on what's next, of course, with the potential second season in mid-September onward, and you've got an opportunity, of course, to return for that 5-race schedule. How do you feel about what's coming up next as the Sprint Series is due to return?
Yeah, I want to thank Julian for entrusting me to help out. Obviously, he's done a great job trying to keep all 3 series afloat, so I'm helping out here where I can. And again, we've had good momentum growing in this series, and I think it's quite a exciting, almost feeder series to the main series. Obviously, we're bringing in stuff like free entry for the champion into the main series for next season. We're going to introduce one oval round at Indy, which again will throw a very different kind of thing, especially to a lot of these road course guys to really experience what it's like to drive an IndyCar kind of in where it's meant to be on an oval, but again continue the strength. Like we've had increasing grids every single round of this championship, and hopefully that continues into next season, and there's no reason why it shouldn't.
And there we have it, Liam O'Sullivan. It looks like the great racing. We're looking to see it up next on our second 5-race run. In these opening 4, a win and a 3rd place finish to highlight results. If you have any final shout outs you'd like to give, we'd love to hear it.
First of all, I want to thank everyone in VOR who's taken part this season. It's been, I think the racing's been pretty good. I think every race has been pretty close, which I think is more than we could have asked for. Despite a kind of almost like a test series, this was, it's been easily surpassed me and Julian's expectations. Also want to say hello, Mum, Dad, grandparents if they're watching. Shame I couldn't pull off the win here today. But yeah, all eyes forward to next season, and thank you to Altena Autosport as always for supporting, and Alex Bonney with IFS Financial Planning for the helping funding to allow all 3 series to go racing and continue the growth that we currently have.
And there we have it, ending, of course, the last podium ceremony of the season. Liam O'Sullivan, third on the day here and collecting the checkered flag on the bottom step of the podium. We thank you again for your time.
Yep, thank you.
And with Liam on the way, the final podium ceremony is concluded. O'Sullivan in third, Patrick Zovazzi coming home in second, and tonight, the 3-time race winner and an inaugural champion, Jarno Koch, collects the checkered flag here in the British Grand Prix and will come home on top as we move on to our month break in between seasons. We'll return with a 5-race schedule starting the 12th of September here in the VOR Racing Network, and we'll have more Sprint Series action coming at you for the rest of 2024. We're excited to bring the series back, of course, for an extended 5-race schedule, and hope you'll tune in with us live here on VOR to continue watching all the action from start to finish. I've been your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and we thank, of course, IFS Financial Planning for bringing the financial support to bring this series together, the VOR Racing Network, and the Racing League for providing and organizing all of the racing action for every driver, and the field that has shown up week after week, bringing together some fantastic racing from flag to flag. We hope you tune in once we return to this Sprint Series action on Thursday afternoons next season. It's going to be an exciting schedule, very similar in format, and we hope to have even better competition than this inaugural stint. You've been watching exclusive coverage here of the British Grand Prix and the VOR Sprint Series from the Silverstone Raceway, and Velocity Online Racing has provided all of the racing action from flag to flag on this broadcast. Thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you have a fantastic night.